you will create a new dynamic memory allocation for integer data type. Okay, so your variable must be a pointer. Okay, so this x here, for example, this x is a pointer. Similarly, when you have an array name is a pointer. So we learned this already in array, right? Array name is a pointer. So this is the syntax you have to use this, okay? Integer data type, if your array is integer array, and then you use this asterisk, and then use this malloc word and the function, and then you supply this as the parameter, okay? Supply this parameter. For example, the number of quantity, for example, your array size, and then size of the data type. So this is multiplied by the size of your data type. So we have to supply this to the function. So at the moment for C, you have just follow this to create a dynamic memory allocation. Okay, dynamic memory allocation. So what happened here? If you have a pointer, okay, if you look at this one, for example, okay. So if you have a pointer, for example, your pointer, the name of your pointer, so you give, this is your pointer, PTR. The pointer name is a PTR. Okay, so this pointer is actually, it can point. So we say that it can point. Okay, it can point. Or not like that. Okay, this pointer actually can point. Or not like that. Okay. Okay, this PTR variable can point. Okay, we say it can point like this. Okay, this is a pointer. Okay, it can point. But point to where? Okay, normally so far we only use this pointer to point to our variable, isn't it? But then when you use malloc, what happens? This malloc will create a memory location, okay, in the memory. So this actually created by the malloc, okay, the memory location. Okay, so this actually created by malloc. So this actually pointer will point to that memory location. So this memory location actually is created dynamically. Okay, unlike what we have used so far, that pointer point to variable. The variable actually contain memory location assigned to it. So the pointer point to that memory location of that variable. Understand? But malloc, we don't use another variable to point to, but we use the malloc to create the location for the pointer to point to. Okay, so that is the purpose of this malloc. So that's what we mean by dynamic memory allocation. Okay, so the size of this memory allocation actually depending, created dynamically, so we can create this during runtime. Okay, so when you run your program, when you call this, then you can create array of any size. Okay, you can define the size of your array when you run your program. So meaning that you can ask the user to input what the size of the array they want to have in your program. Okay, unlike a static array you have to decide what is the size of the array before you compile the program, because you need to declare the array with the size, isn't it? But using malloc, you can create your array dynamically. Okay, the size can be determined when you run the program. Okay, that is the purpose of malloc. The syntax you have to remember the syntax of how to use this malloc. That is, we have this data type in bracket, and then use this function malloc, and then we assign the size of your data type. Okay, the size of data type. If your pointer is simply just integer pointer, it's not array, then you can put the size of integer. Okay, you just get rid of this n because it is not an array. Okay, so it's only one integer. So then you can put the size of integer. But if you have array, then you need to multiply by n the size of your array that you want. Okay, if your array size is 10 and you want to store 10 integer, then 10 times size of integer. Okay, because every item will occupy one integer. One integer, the size is 4 bytes. Okay. Okay. Understand how malloc works. So malloc is simply just the function name. Okay, function name malloc, memory allocation. And then confused about how to use pointer in function. Okay, pointer in function. If you use here, what do you mean pointer? Pointer in function actually similar to the pointer that you use in main. Okay, because main is a function. So what do you mean by pointer in function? Is it you pass a parameter as pointer, or the pointer as you have function with pointer parameter? Which one actually that you confuse? Function with pointer parameter. Yeah, so okay, function with pointer parameter. Where is it? Actually, you have seen this function with pointer parameter in array. Not array function, okay? In the lecture about function. So when we have pointer function with pointer parameter, that means that we want to pass the argument as passed by reference, okay? Passed by reference. Where is it? Which slide? What is the slide number? Function. Yeah, this one. Passed by reference. Okay, passed by reference. And then this is this one, isn't it? Okay. Okay, this is one. Okay, this is example of pass by reference. Okay, we have function with a pointer parameter here. Okay, this one. Okay, so there is a difference between the one passed by value and passed by reference. When we say that the function has a parameter pointer parameter, meaning that this parameter will accept address instead of value. Okay, because pointer can only store address. Okay, pointer can store the address only. Okay, it doesn't store the value. Okay, so when you call the function, then you need to pass address because you have a pointer in the parameter. Okay, so you need to pass address. When you pass address, meaning that this pointer will point to that address. When we call it point, meaning that there is the pointer, the variable pointer is actually store the address of your variable length here. Okay, it store the address, meaning that it point to that address. Okay, so when it point to that address, meaning that the length here actually refer to the same location because it knows the address of your variable length in main. Okay, so it point to the same location. Okay, it refer to the same location. So when you do this operation, remember, in order to access the value of your pointer, you need to use this what we call as dereferencing operator or the asterisk that we use together with the pointer name here. Okay, so this is a dereferencing operator. Okay, we access the value pointed by the pointer. So the value actually in variable length. Okay, so the pointer point to variable length. Okay, so it will access the value in that location. So that location, the value is something that it will multiply the value. Okay, So the value multiply the value. So this is multiplication. This is dereferencing operator. This one is a pointer declaration. So this is not dereferencing, but this is actually pointer declaration. We use the same operator. Okay. So this is dereferencing operator for pointer. So when you see this in the body of your function, meaning that we are accessing the value. Okay, the value that pointed by the pointer. Okay. Pass by value here on the left. Okay, pass by value. We don't use pointer. We just use normal variable. Okay, normal variable will store a value. So when you call the function, okay, with length here, so the value of length will be copied to this variable length. Okay, in your function, because this is passed by value. Passed by value, we copy the value. We have two copy. One is in length, and then one is another one in the parameter of this function, okay, which is len. Okay, so they have two different memory location to store the same value. Okay, so length is also the same value copied to this one. Unlike the pass by reference, the pointer point to the same location. So we have only one value pointed by the pointer as well as referred by the variable length in your main. Understand, class, what we mean by the pointer as the parameter? Similarly, when you have an array, okay, if you want to pass array to your function, then you can use pointer, because array name is a pointer, isn't it? Array name contain address. So when you have pointer in your function, then you can pass array to it. Okay, pass array directly without using the address operator. Okay, when you pass array to your function. Okay, so this one actually similar to show the difference between pass by reference and then pass by value. Okay, pass by reference using pointer. The pointer point to the same value. Pass by value, we have two copy. Okay. Here we don't have array, passing array. Okay, on passing array, then you need to look at the lecture on function, because we use array, passing array to function last time, isn't it? So when you pass array, you can use pointer as well to accept the array in your function. Okay, so the pointer will point to that array. Okay. Okay, I know it's not easy to understand the concept, but then when you do some programming a bit, and then you look at the output, then you can understand how actually it works in the program. Okay, so try to do the lab. Okay, try to do the lab. Make sure you can understand what happened in the lab. Okay. Okay, class. Any other question? Or if you want, you can copy paste all this code and put it into your editor, compile the code, and then see what happened. Okay. If you look at the slide just like this, reading the slide, actually it doesn't really help, okay, to understand the code. But then if you copy the code and then compile it, run it, then you will understand better. Okay. Can you give an example of how to use malloc? Still a little confused. Okay, if you look at the example. Okay, look at the example. Let's say we create here. Okay, malloc. Include. Okay. Okay, let's say we declare a pointer. Okay, we want to store integer array. Okay, we use this pointer to create the array later on. Okay, so here we have a pointer. This is array ptr. Okay, pointer array ptr array. It doesn't matter whatever the name is. Okay, but okay. So now we ask the user to enter the size so that we can print the array for the user dynamically. Okay. Okay, please enter the size of your array. Okay, so the user will enter the size. So we need to get the size, so declare another one here, size. Okay. So we get the size from the user. Okay. Okay. So we know the size now. So what we do, we create the array dynamically. Okay. So ptr array. Okay. Using the syntax that we have just now, which is integer. Okay. It is like that, isn't it? Then we need to forgot to include the library. Okay. Remember, malloc is not is available in this one. stdlib. Okay. And then malloc. Call the name. This is just the name of the function only. Malloc is just the name of the function. Okay. And then malloc. How was the syntax again? Forgot. Because it's too long. Unlike C++. C++ is very easy. You just use new. New integer. That's all. 26, isn't it? This one. Okay. And then the size. Okay. Malloc. And then the size of your it one. Okay, malloc, and then the size. Okay, this is size. The size entered by the user multiplied by size of. Size of. This one is actually the integer because we are using integer data type. Okay, it is an integer array. If your array contain character, then you put size of character because all these data type actually they have different size. Okay, different size. Okay, now we have the array created dynamically. Now we ask the user to enter the element. Okay, so we can use this I to, we have array, so we use for loop. Okay, for, okay, now we create a function, for example. Okay, so this function actually just to read input from the user. Okay, input from the user. But this function will accept one array. Okay, so this is, we use a pointer. We pass the ptr. Okay, that one. So this is array, the array. Okay, the array. And then we declare this, make this a prototype, put it up here. Don't forget the prototype. Okay. And then here we use for loop. Okay, this one we don't need to this one here. We just put integer I. Okay. So for, so this one we I equal to 0. Okay, I, oh, this one is another one. We need to accept the size. We don't know the size. Okay, so we need another integer here, size. Okay, size. So this one is another integer. Okay, and then for I less or less than the size. Okay, and then I plus plus. We print out. Can we declare size as global? Can, but then it's not advisable to, it's not advisable to declare your variable as global because global variable can be accessed anyway. And then if you use too many global variable, sometimes when you change the value, you don't know when you get something wrong in your program, you don't know whether it actually is related. If this related to the variable, then you don't know how to trace your code. It could be changed anyway in your code. Okay, but if you know where you declare the variable and then where you pass the variable, then it's easy to trace the error. Okay, so it's not really actually advisable to use global variable. Okay, as much as possible, try to make it local so that when you have error, then easy to trace. Okay, if you put it global, then if there is something wrong with that variable, then it's very hard to trace the error because it can be accessed anyway in the program. Okay, so that's why I don't advise you to use global, but can if you think that is easy, then no problem. Okay, it's just as as ethic in programming. Okay, try to be a good programmer instead of to make your just get it easy. Okay, don't take. Okay, this one actually we have the size. Okay, and then we ask the user, uh, please. This one actually we ask the user to enter. Please enter the number of integer that they want. Okay, that integer. Okay, then we will read the integer into the array. Okay, and then this is the size. And then for this for loop, we just okay, integer I. Okay, integer I. And then we put here I plus 1. Okay, so scan F. Okay, and then this is the integer we are reading. Okay, put it into the array. So here we read okay the integer directly into the array. So depending on the size, we can actually use the pointer together with the normal array notation. Okay, so here for example, array I. Okay, okay, we can access the location of the array like this to input the variable into your array. So this is array I. So this one you need to scan F. Scan F. This is already the address. Okay. Okay, later on if there is error, then we can fix it. Okay. Not yet. Okay, so here we call the function. Okay, input. Okay, input array. Okay, input array together with the size. Okay, together with the size. And then we send not the array, this is ptr. Okay, when we put the ptr here, the pointer, it is the address already. So it will go to this the array.
Sir, we cannot hear you.
Oh, you can, yeah, sorry. I forgot to unmute. Okay. Okay, we put the, oh, I didn't see your chat just now. Okay. I was focused on the code. Okay, I didn't see the chat. Okay, this is the prototype of the display, and then we have display, and then we call the display function as well. Forgot to call this. Okay, put it here. We input, and then we call the display function, and then we cannot put this here. This is PTR. Later on, okay, I'll explain this one by one. Okay, size. Okay. Okay, but basically you understand what we mean by this prototype. You know what is prototype, isn't it? And then here we have a pointer, okay? And then we ask the user to enter the size of the array they want. And then we use that to create the array dynamically, okay? And then we call this function to get the input, and then we display the array to the user as well. So this is the input function, okay? And then this is the display function. Okay, we pass the array, and then we print out the content. Okay, so we try to compile this. Okay, there's no error. That is good news. Okay, we run it. Okay, you look at this one. Please enter the size of the array. Let's say we have 5. Okay, so see, we already get into the function already now. Okay, please enter 5 integers. This one actually comes from the function. Okay, this one comes from the function. So array integer 1, okay, so we just enter the integer here. Okay, for example, 9, 8. So there is an error. Okay, so we need to fix this error. It could be due to the, oh, this is the value. Okay, we need to put this address operator, because this one actually will get to the value. Okay, so we need to put the address. Okay, array name with the index actually is the value. Then we need to get the address. So we in scanf we put the address operator. Okay, so we compile this again, and then we run it. Okay, so this is the output. Okay, the size is 5. Number 1 is 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Okay, the array is 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. If you look at these two functions, okay, understand how malloc works. Okay, you just use the syntax, okay, to create your array dynamically. Okay. And then, okay, if you look at the function here, okay, we have two functions, okay. Input array, we access the array element through the normal array notation. Okay, we use the pointer name together with the array notation, the bracket. Okay, so you understand this one, isn't it? We can access the array item in your array directly using the index. But then on the second one, the display, this one, we don't use the array notation to access the value, but instead we use the pointer, okay, to access the value. So here we have, if you look at the output is here, isn't it? That is normal. If you look at this one, we have this array name, the array, plus I. Plus I is the integer, okay? So the first run of this for loop, there will be the array name plus 0, isn't it? Array name actually will, this pointer, which is the array name, it point to the array. So this one actually point to the first element in your array, okay, isn't it? You still remember array name actually refer to contain the address of the first element, which is index 0. So when we have this, the array plus 0, meaning that we are referring to the first element. And then when you use this this what is this? This is dereferencing operator. Okay, dereferencing operator will give you the value at that location, which is the first element. Okay, so that's why we get to the value, the first element in the array through the pointer. Understand, class? Okay, this one will give you the location, the address. This one actually will give you the dereferencing, the value, where the address, what is stored in this address. Okay, what is stored in that address. And then when we go to the next one, when I become 1, not 0, because for loop I will increase from 1 to 3, isn't it? So that address, the pointer plus 1, for example, it will move to the next location in the array. Okay, it will move to the next location. Okay, it doesn't matter whether the array is integer array or character array. Plus 1 will actually move it to the next location in your array. Okay, so your pointer will go, this one actually will go to the next location. The pointer, the array will still point to the first element. Okay, it doesn't move. But when you add this, the first element address together with this one, it will actually refer to the second location. Plus 1. Plus 2, it will go to the third location. Plus 3, it will go to the fourth location, and so on. Okay, so this one, the thing that you have in this bracket actually will move from one location to another. And then this is the referencing operator to get to the value in that location. Okay, so that's why when you run your program, then you get the value, okay, of that location one by one. Understand, class? So now actually I show you how to use malloc together with how to pass the array to your function using pointer in the parameter. Okay? Any other question? Any other question, class? Can we discuss lab 3? Lab 3 done long time ago already. Oh, lab test. Okay. Oh, your lab test. How was it? Not easy. Question 1 is already confusing. Okay. Okay, this one is done. Okay. I will upload this in Ellipse so that you can have it. You can have the code and then try to compile the code and then see what happened. You will see, and then when you run the program, try to input different integer, the size of the array. You will see that your array actually become very dynamic. Okay, and very good. Okay, because you don't need to specify the size. Okay. Okay, now we look at the lab. Where's the lab? The lab test. Okay, the lab test. Lab test. Okay, this one. Okay, lab test 3. Okay, lab test 3. This is your set F. Okay, the correct set. Okay, given the description of the power round function provided in, okay, write a program to convert the following mathematical equation to C language expression. Okay, so you just convert this formula into a program. Okay, but using the function. Okay, to convert the formula. Okay, your program should utilize the power. So the power, for example, r to the power of 2, you use pow, and then round function above to generate the result. Okay, so round, you need to round up the value in sample output. Okay, we will see how. The output seems genuine because it complete. Okay, because some lecturer they don't they don't create the output from actual run, they just create the output. Sometimes the output they create actually is not correct. But this one actually, I think it's a original run of the program, actual program running. Okay. So we have this, okay, we create a new program. As I said, if we have a sample output, try to follow the output. Okay. So you can program according to the output. Okay, the output can be a guide for you to program, to code your program. Okay. And then this is main. Okay, and then we look at the question again. Please enter a double value for R. So we have a double value for R. So print F for R. Okay. So here actually we have double. Okay, R. Okay. Actually float is enough as well. Okay. This one we will scan F. Okay, and then this is a double. F or LF? LF. Later on we'll see. If there is error, then we just fix it. Okay. This is R. Okay. And then the result is okay. The result actually after we calculate. So we need to put the formula. Okay. The formula is 2 plus R pi. Okay. The pi is that one. So what is the purpose of the round function provided as standard C library? Power. Calculate the value of x to the power of y. Round to round floating point number of x to the nearest integer. Okay. To the nearest integer. And return the floating point number. Return a floating point number. Number of x to the nearest integer. And then return floating point number. Which one actually we need to round? Write a program to convert the following mathematical. The result is like that. Result. We have a double. The result is still in floating point. Oh yeah, the rounded. Oh yeah, the last one, the rounded value. Oh, I forgot to look at the output. Okay. So the output is actually the rounded value. So that one actually you just call the round function. Okay. So meaning that the formula only contain the power. Okay, to calculate the power. And then the value of pi, actually we can directly put the pi value in your formula. Okay, we can directly put the file. So we have the result. The result is result is an integer. Okay, so result is an integer. So we can declare an integer here. Okay, please enter a double for R. Okay, and then we just put here result. Okay, result equal to round. Okay. No. Oh, we need to include the library first. Okay. .h. Okay. Oh no, math. Forgot. This is not standard library. Math.h. Okay. And then a result equal to 2 plus I. Result equal to round function. Okay. And then you can put the formula into the function directly. Okay, or if you want, you can have another variable to calculate. Okay, so we have that. Yeah, you can declare many variable to hold the, for example, to calculate the power, and then you put it into the formula. But here we try to put it into the formula directly, round, round. Okay, round, round except only one double. Okay, one double. So here we put 2, isn't it? Plus, okay, 2 plus by 3.14159, 3.14159. Okay, and then this one actually multiply by that. Okay, we can put another bracket here, or you put the multiplication. Okay, multiply. We can put this in bracket. Okay, and then here we have power. Okay, power, and then here you provide the power, which is r square, isn't it? So r is the value entered by the user, and then power 2, okay, to the power of 2. So this is r, and then to the power of 2. Okay, and then we have another one. Okay, so we try it like this. Later on we'll see whether the result is correct or not. Okay, and then we need to print out the result is, okay, the result is, oh no, print f. Okay, and then we print out the result. This is integer. The result is integer. Okay, oh, if you print this in integer, then we don't have that 0, isn't it? Rounded value of the result. So result should be double as well, or you can use float. Okay, float. It got rounded, so we don't have any. We still 0.00. So this is result. Okay, and then what else? The rounded value, isn't it? The rounded. Oh, this one. Oh, not yet, isn't it? Because we don't put round here. Okay, we don't round it yet. Okay, the result is simply like that. Okay, and then here actually the rounded value. Okay, print f the rounded. The rounded value of the result. Okay, is okay, and then we print out the result here. Okay, f again, the rounded value. Yeah, we put 2 because we call the function in here. Okay, the rounded. If you look at the function, it return a double. Okay, round value return a double. So we use f. Okay, we use f. So here we just round the result. Okay, so that's it. Wait, later on when we compile it. So we check a bit. Okay, print out scan f, and then here we need to put a new line so that it go to the new line. Okay, and then this one is a new line. Okay, so now compile, see whether it works or not. This is lab test 3, 1. Okay. The result, I think, round off the result. Okay. Okay, there's no error. Okay, and then we run the program. Okay. So we look at the output here. Okay. 3.5. R is 3.5. Do we get the output or not? The result is, oh, this is not correct, isn't it? So we look at the program again. This one. Read R. R is a double. And then it accept another one is a double, that is 2 to the power. 2 plus. We don't need to initialize result because result actually will be assigned this value when you do the calculation. Okay, when you do the calculation. So 2 plus this one, and then this is 2 plus something here, isn't it? We have this one. Power we return a value, so this one actually will definitely it's more than 2, but then we have only 2 as the output. So this one different. You get different output. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay. Double. We'll see whether it works or not. Still 2. 2 plus, this is plus, isn't it? Plus that number multiplied by power. So we look at this one. Okay. That one is 0. See, you get that 0, the value of the power. When you put R in there, we get 0. Why we get 0? Maybe there is a conversion specifier that is wrong. Okay, we put LF here, I think, for double. Okay, double is LF for scanf. So if you look at the output, this one actually can be F. Okay, can be F. The conversion specifier for this one, okay, when you scan R cannot be converted to double. Okay, so that's why when I put it there, we got 0 for the power. So that's why we get 2 plus 0. Okay, so this one, when you run it again, 3.5, and now we get it correct. Okay, but the answer is incorrect. Okay, we got some, the answer is because of the power here. Okay, so this is the result. Okay, now it should be okay. So the problem is the conversion specifier for scanf. Okay, scanf, if we want to read double, you need to use LF. Okay, scanf. So here we put 3.5. So now we get the result. Okay. And then if we look at the output to the one that we have in here, it says 78.97. Why we got 2? If we look at the to the formula, if we look at the formula, then we can calculate it. Okay, for example, we calculate the value. It could be the sample output is wrong. Okay, but you can calculate it. For example, 3.5. If you look 3.5 to the power of 2 square, 12.25. Okay, 12.25 multiplied by 3, 3.114159 equal 38 times by 2 times by plus 2. Plus 2 is 40, isn't it? So the answer is incorrect. Okay, so the answer in this sample output is incorrect. Okay, it could be the program created by the one who set the question, he get the calculation incorrect. Okay, so the output from the sample output is incorrect, because when you calculate using the calculator, you get the one that we have in this program, isn't it? So the output is incorrect in the sample output. Okay, don't worry about that one. Yeah, the sample output. That's why when you see that you don't get the correct output, try to, because this is just about calculation, try to do the manual calculation. Then you can see that the output is incorrect. Manual calculation give us the different answer. Okay? Or you try with simple number. For example, you enter number 1. Okay, 1 square is 1, isn't it? Multiply by 3 plus 2. Okay, do you get the correct output or not for your program? If it is correct, then no problem with that one. Okay, but this one simple output is incorrect. Okay, so that's why you ask for the first question. Okay, even with the calculator, yeah, with the calculator, even with the calculator, we get that one. Okay, okay, that is number 1. Number 2 is easy, right? Number 2 easy. Oh, you want to one of you asked about number 2 just now, isn't it? Question 2 is confusing. Okay, class. Sorry for the disruption. And then I think I did this wrong. Instead of using the function to give the value, use global variable. Okay, because yeah. So this one, if it is required for you to pass through the function, then you need to pass through the function. So using the global variable is not acceptable. Okay. But it depends on the requirement. Okay. So if you look at this question number 2, write a console program to calculate monthly expenses. So this one actually just if else. Although you see the table, it looks scary. Okay. But actually it's very simple. Okay. It's just a normal calculation. So you just use if else. Okay. To calculate the different package. Okay. To get the output. So here, write a console program to calculate monthly expense offered by the company. And like this, create a function, this calculate bill. Okay, so calculate bill will accept a double. Okay, calculate bill as written in function prototype below. This function accept a parameter of network service plan and then return the total payment of the selected package. Okay. So we have integer plan. So the user will choose the plan and then you use the function to calculate and then return the result. Your program should get the input. Output should look similar to figure 2 below. Okay, this one. Okay, if you look at this program, okay, number 2 now. Okay, this one we close it. Okay, and then we create a new one. Okay, include. Okay, and then we have this function prototype. So remember, we have this function prototype. Oh, not yet. This one, okay, put it in here. This is our function. Okay, and then the function is down here. Okay. And then what else? On top billing system. Okay, this one actually from the okay, we have the function to work continuously. Okay, to ask the user to choose. Your program should get input from in the main function. So the service plan in the main function. So this menu will be repeated and then call the function. Enter any add-on, make a choice, repeat add-on, data pass. Okay, that one actually from the function. Enter any total bill is 50. Okay. Okay, that one is, and then on top billing system. Okay. So this one we need to ask the user to enter the choice. Okay, so we have integer choice. Oh, not here in the main. Okay. Choice. And then, so here we need to display the menu. Is that on top? So we just print out that one. Choice, let's say we choice equal to 1. Okay, so this is just to control the while loop. Or we can use do while. Okay, we use do while, so this is not a good one. So we just do, okay, we do this one. Okay, and then this is while. While choice is not equal to 3. Okay, so while choice not equal to 3. So 3 will quit. Okay, and then do this one. And then on top billing system. Okay, so we just print F. Okay, this one. Billing system. Okay. And then we have this new line. This one on top billing system, and then we display the menu prepaid. Okay, prepaid plan, postpaid plan 1 and 2. Okay, 1 prepaid plan. Okay, and then another one, and then this one is number 2 post. Okay, and then we ask the user to number 3 is quit. Okay, number 3. Okay, and then please make your choice. Okay, so we just print F. Please make your choice. Okay, and then the user will enter the scan F. Okay, scan F. So this one is choice. Okay. Okay. So that is the menu. And then after we let the user enter the choice number 1. Okay. So we call the function calculate bill. Calculate bill will accept the choice, the plan. Okay. So we just call the this one, the function here. After the user entered the value, we just call this one. Oh, this one is plan or choice plan. Okay. Oh, it's okay. The choice is here, but then you use point the plan in your choice. Okay, we call the function choice. Okay, calculate bill choice, and then the choice will go to this function plan. And then prepaid add-on data pass. So this one actually is in the function. Okay, so we just print F. Okay. And then I think I did this wrong. Instead of using the function to give the value, use global. Yeah, so that you need to use the function to pass the plan. Okay, because the function only use one variable and I got confused. Function only use one variable. So this is the parameter. Okay, when you see the function contain this one parameter, meaning that you need to pass the something to the function. So what else we can pass to the function? Definitely the choice. Okay, because that is only the thing that we get from the user. Okay, so you need to pass the choice. So this one is prepaid add-ons. Oh, make your choice. If we want, then prepaid add-ons. So this is calculate bill only, isn't it? Calculate bill. Or then we need to check here before we do anything. When we call the calculate bill, okay. So here, if the plan is equal to 1, then we start calculating the prepaid one. Okay. So this is the one. Okay. So we have if plan equal to 1, then we start this one. Okay. And then prepaid add-ons. So this one we have this one. Add-ons. Okay. And then we have this like that. And then what else? So we just display data pass. Okay, printf. Printf data pass. Number one is okay, data pass, and then new line, close the bracket, and then another one is the number two. What is it? IDD calls. Okay. Okay. And then like that. And then none. Number three is none. Okay. So enter any add-ons. Okay, we enter any add-on. So we have another one here. Printf any add-ons. Okay. Any add-on. Okay, so the user will enter the add-on, and then we need to scan F. Scan F, the integer. Okay, so we need to have one variable here. Okay, add-on. Okay, so we read this add-on. Okay, wait a minute. So this is the function, and then total bill. Okay, then we'll calculate the total bill. Okay, the total bill. Oh, wait a minute. This function will return, the return the value, isn't it? So the calculate bill. Okay, calculate bill. The output should look similar to figure 2. Okay, so it doesn't matter how you divide your program, whether this part actually in the function or in the main, but you need to get the output correct. Okay, so the way you divide your program, it depends, because it's not very clear here whether all the thing actually done in the function, or some of them, or there are many actually done in the main. Okay, yeah, some of you just calculate. Okay, you just calculate in the function. Okay, so but since the function actually only accept one integer, so it is the plan that we pass to the function. So better to do most of the thing actually in the function, not in the main. Okay, not in the main. So that's why you confuse, isn't it? Yeah, so that's why you confuse with that one. Okay, because if you do so many things in the main program, then you need to to pass not only the choice but also the add-on and so on, isn't it? So there are too many things to pass to the function, but a function only accept one integer here, so it must be the plan. Okay, but then you do the thing in the function. Okay, so here for example, we only accept the plan. Okay, and then in the function, then we see what is the plan for the bill calculation. Okay, to calculate the bill. So any add-on, so we get the add-on, and then total bill is okay. Total bill is this one. Actually, you cannot print it in the function because the function will return the bill, and then it return the double. Okay, the value. So it must be printed in the main. Okay, it must be printed in the main. The total bill. Okay, so the total bill is, so in here we just do the calculation. So we have the add-on here, and then we calculate. Okay, this is for the prepaid. So we look at the question again. What is the formula? Okay, for that one. And then here the prepaid package. Okay, basic charge is 30. Data pass, okay, and IDD pass. Okay, this is a prepaid plan. So we just put that 30 plus either if they choose one of them, okay, then we need to calculate. Okay, so here we put the plan is 1. Okay, if add-on is, so we need to check this add-on equal to 1, then so we need to have this another one, the float, for example. Okay, float the total. Okay, total. So if it is 1 with the data pass, then we do the calculation. So total equal to float equal to 30. Okay, this is the basic charge, 30 plus the add-on. Okay, add-on is basic charge data pass, basic charge plus 20. Okay, plus 20. If IDD call, plus 40. So this is plus 20. Okay. And then if it is else, meaning that there is only 2 add-on, or this one actually you need to use that because there is none as well, isn't it? So else if add-on equal to 2, then we need to use this total equal to 30 plus 40. Okay. Else, okay, else it doesn't matter whether they enter 3 or more, then we just put the total is 30 equal to 30. Okay, later on we'll save. So this is the total. So what we do here, and then here we actually return total later on. Okay, if plan there's only 2 plan. Okay, there's only 2 plan, but then we need to put the choice. Okay, here actually we need to before we call the calculate bill, sometimes the user entered quit, isn't it? We don't calculate. So if, okay, so only accept this if choice is equal to 1 or 2. Okay, if choice equal to 1, can we put it all together or not? To be safe, we just put it like this. Choice equal to 1 or choice equal to 2. Okay. Then we call the function. Otherwise, we don't call the function. We just quit. Okay. Well, choice is not equal to 3. Yeah, if they enter something else, other number than that, then we keep repeat the program, but we don't do any calculation. Okay, they can only quit with if they enter the number 3. Okay. And then this is for prepaid. And then for the postpaid, we do the same thing. Okay, else, then because there's only 2 option, okay, then else actually is the other option. Okay, else is actually the other option, which is the postpaid plan. Okay, so the postpaid plan, we just put the what is the menu? Prepaid plan. Okay, your choice 2 postpaid plan. Then we have this postpaid plan, almost the same. Okay, with different, so we can copy paste this. Okay, we just copy paste this. The calculation actually a bit different, isn't it? Paste it here. Okay, so this is for postpaid plan. We just change it postpaid package. postpaid package, and then unlimited package. Okay, this one is unlimited package. Unlimited, where is it? Unlimited package, super chat package. And then here we have package. And then we have another one is basic package. Okay. Basic package. Okay. And then select your package. Please select your package. Please select your package. Select a package, and then we can use the same variable add-on. Okay. Select a package, basic package, and then we have that one. Okay. So we look at the formula here. Unlimited 98, super chat 60. That one is 45. So this one actually you simply just put the total to be the number. Okay, 98, 60, 45. 98. Okay, 98, 60, and then 45. Okay, 45. And then here we just return the total. Okay. Yeah, forgot. This one total should be double. Okay. Cannot be because the function return a double, so your total should be double. And then okay, so we just try to compile this program. Let's see whether it works or not. Okay, this is LT32. Okay, there's no error. Okay, that is good. Okay, now we can see whether the program works or not. Okay, if you look at the output here, this one, okay. So it says enter. So we get the output similar to the one that we have here. So we have quit. Please make your choice. Okay, we choose one. Okay, there is a empty line should be there. So we just put another empty line there. So prepaid add-ons, data pass, IDD calls, none. Enter any add-on, number one. Okay. We don't print the value yet. Okay, so we forgot to do that one. Okay, we just quit here. Okay, so see quit, it works. The quit menu works. Okay, so we forgot to do this one. Okay, this actually double. This is bill total. Okay, we simply just output the result here. Okay, so bill total here equal to calculate that one, and then we just print f. Okay, the total. What is the value? Total bill is okay, RM, and then the value, which is a float, a double. Okay, this is a bill total. Okay, and then we have a new line here, and then this is precision is 0.2. Okay, and then we see what else. We have enter your choice. Okay, prepaid, enter your choice. This one actually we need to put a new line here, to get a blank line, okay? And then we run the program again, see whether it works or not. And then if you look at the output here, okay, so we get that one, enter the choice number 1, okay, we have a new empty line between the thing. And then prepaid add-on, okay, enter any add-on, so we have 1, okay. So total bill is 50 ringgit, so it's correct, okay, but we need another new line there. Okay, so we need to put 2 new line in our program. Okay, here we need to put 2 new line. Okay, so that we have a blank line between this and another the new one. Okay, so this one, if you entered other number, then it doesn't affect anything. Okay, but the total bill is still there. So the total bill, we need to do something to the total bill, because if you enter other number, it should be just repeat but not printing the total bill. Okay, so total bill should be put it in if else. Okay, we quit. Okay, even when you quit, you have the total bill. Okay, so the total bill should be printed in here in your so we can choose actually here if, okay, if, oh, we put this here, we just put it in here. Okay, put it in this bracket. Okay, we have this one already, and then we put it there. So when you do the calculation, then we have the total bill. Okay, so that's it. Okay, bill total is that, and then put it there. Okay, and then we have another, run it again. Okay, number one. Okay, total bill is 50. Okay, and then if you choose number 2, this is the package, or this is another one. We need to put another blank line there, and then the package is number 3, so you get 45. Okay, and then if you put number 6, then you don't get anything. You still get the same menu again. 9, 8, 7. You need to choose that one, or you can display an error. Okay, but then just follow the lab test. Okay, the simple output. You don't need to put anything. This one is still acceptable. Okay, and then that's it, class. Any other question, class? Quit. Okay, any other question, class? This week got lab test? No, this week, if you look at the plan, there's no lab test for this week, but next week. Okay, next week will be lab test 4. Okay. And then any other question about the lecture? The lab test done just now. Okay, I will upload the program in Ellipse. Okay, you can look at it. Okay, and then if you have any other, if you don't have any other question, then this is your attendance just now for those who haven't recorded your attendance. Yeah, that's your attendance. If there's no other question, then I'll see you this Thursday. Okay, class? I'll see you on Thursday for the lab. Okay, no lab test for this week. We'll have another one next week. Okay, no worries.